So hey there YouTube, it's all here again today, and in today's video I'm going to be pitching an idea for a Batman TV show. But before we get into the video, you know the drill. Drop a like if you like the content here today. Press the subscribe button if you want to see more content from me, and press the bell icon to get notified of my latest uploads. And yeah, let's jump right into this one. So for a few years now, I've thought about this idea. Out of all the DC characters that deserve a live action show, I think Batman deserves it the most. And I'm gonna go on a little tangent here before I get into the pitch, but when it comes to superheroes that deserve a live action show, I think Spider-Man and Batman deserve it the most. Not only because they're two of the most iconic superheroes in the world, they're like on the Mount Rushmore of superheroes right next to Superman and Wonder Woman. But also, the thing that it makes Spider-Man and Batman interesting characters is their rogues galleries. They have some of the most iconic villains in all of comic book history. Joker, Green Goblin, Two-Face, Doc Ock, Scarecrow, Venom, not that one, also not that one. Yeah, but look, anyway, these two have like some of the best rogues galleries in all of comic book history, and they have some of the best stories in comic books. Show them on screen right now, but yeah, they're both really iconic superheroes, and I think they can do well in a live action setting because these two have done well in the animated sphere of shows. They have done well. Spider has done well with the Spectacular Spider-Man, Spider-Man the animated series, not that one, and Batman has done well with the Batman the animated series and the Batman show, even Batman Cape Crusader. So yeah, both of them have done well in the animation sphere of TV shows, but I never really seen them break out in the live action sphere when it comes to TV shows. Like there have been live action Spider-Man shows like years ago, like in the 60s there was this Japanese one and another one sometime in the 80s, but I always found it odd that no one has ever thought about doing a live action Spider-Man show in today's age. I know that Marvel and DC are more focused on movies and Spider-Man and Batman are blockbuster hits, but I think they can do really well in a TV format, even like Batman. With Batman, everyone knows the 60s Adam West show, but it doesn't delve into like the dark grittiness of the character. You know, it was lighthearted, and it worked for that time. The only other show I can think about that delves into the lore of Batman and has a really good interpretation of him in a live action show realm is Gotham, that Batman prequel show. I really love Gotham, and I think it does the characters in the Batman mythos really well when it comes to his rogues gallery, like the Riddler, the Penguin, Mad Hatter, Scarecrow. I think the Gotham TV show gives us a glimpse of what a actual Batman show could be like if done well. So let me get into the pitch now. My pitch for the show is this Batman show will follow a much more older version of Batman. One that's more experienced and a broken version of Batman. He's like in his mid-40s to late 40s. I like Batman stories that focus on the older version of Bruce Wayne, who's broken and has pretty much lost everything closest to him, and he has to build himself up again. So yeah, this show will focus on the older version of Batman, a broken Batman who goes on a journey of self-discovery and becomes the legendary Dark Knight again in order to protect Gotham City from new threats that are emerging in a new era. This show, I plan it to be 5 seasons, and it is going to have 15 episodes. Alright, each season will have 15 episodes. The main cast it will be made up of, obviously Batman / Bruce Wayne. You saw his parents get murdered in front of him by Joe Chill in Crime Alley. Then you know the rest. He trains to become Batman. In this universe, he started his career at the age of 26. But then 3 years later, traumatic events took place. He goes into exile, but is forced to come back years later when new threats emerge in Gotham City. Then you have Alfred Pennyworth. He's a trusted butler. He took care of him after his parents died. He's basically like Bruce's father figure, but yeah, he sticks by Bruce every step of the way. Then you have James Gordon. So he was the commissioner when Bruce became Batman, but now after Bruce returns to Gotham City, Jim has been demoted from commissioner and is now just a detective because of the new regime in GCPD. Then we have Barbara Gordon, Jim Gordon's daughter, who's also Oracle, but she also used to be Batgirl before the Joker crippled her. But now she works as Oracle, and she provides intel and aid to Batman on the battlefield from the Batcave. Then you have Lucius Fox. He provides Batman with all his tech and equipment. Then you have another character I would like to implement is Kate Kane, Batwoman. She's like he's a cousin from what I remember, but in some continuity she's not. But yeah, so in this universe she's revealed to be Bruce's cousin from his mother's side. And yeah, she becomes Batwoman. Batman takes her under his wing and he trains her to become Batwoman. Then we have Renee Montoya and Harvey Bullock, the two detectives that work at GCPD. They have like from what I remember, Bullock has an antagonistic relationship with Batman, while Montoya is much more friendly and is much more friendly and is willing to work with Batman, just like Gordon. Other characters that I plan on implementing as the show progresses. So then you have Nightwing / Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson, his origin is the same. Parents got killed in front of him during an event at a Hardy Circus. Bruce took him in at a young age, probably like at the age of 13. Bruce trained him to become Robin. He fought alongside Batman as the Boy Wonder. Then he had a falling out with Bruce because Bruce didn't trust him with certain stuff, and he felt like Bruce was babying him. Dick Grayson goes off to become Nightwing, and he defends Bloodhaven from crime, right? By this point in the show, he's already Nightwing, and he does come back to Gotham City when working a case, and he crosses paths with Bruce again, and he has to reconcile with Bruce throughout the show. Then this brings us to Azrael, Michael Lane. So Michael Lane is the second Azrael. I think people mainly know him from the Arkhamverse, maybe from Arkham City and Arkham Knight. So this guy's whole backstory is that he was a former Marine and cop who underwent some experiment in a program that wanted to make a replacement for Batman. It psychologically messed him up. It was later taken by the Order of Saint Duma. They're like a religious organization that wants to rid Gotham of crime to extreme lengths, like lethal lengths. And Azrael is basically the experiment, and he's basically the assassin, the angel of death, Azrael. So they turned Michael Lane into Azrael after, I would say, like kidnapped and brainwashed by the Order of Saint Dumas to become the angel of death, Azrael, in order to become the lethal protector of Gotham, like the assassin, alright? But later on he does become allies with Bruce Wayne, and they both he stops killing, and he becomes allies with Bruce Wayne. This brings us to the villains of the show. So some lore behind the villains. So this is a whole different era of Gotham. The villains that Batman faced years ago have either gone into exile, either been reformed, are still there, but have either moved up in the world or like moved down in the world. And so here, like the Penguin, this version of Penguin during Bruce's early years as Batman, Penguin was like a nobody, but through the years he slowly worked through the ranks to become a corporal in the Falcone crime family, and he started to get close with Carmine Falcone. He went from an errand boy and a typical gangster to becoming the second in command of the Falcone crime family. He worked for Falcone for years, but then after Falcone was sent to life imprisonment in Blackgate, there was a civil war, and Penguin seized this opportunity to take over the organization, make it his own organization, turn it into the Penguin family. And so by the beginning of this show, Penguin has essentially become the Kingpin. And yeah, he's become like one of the major crime lords in the city. During Batman's early years, he was like a small-time gangster, but now he's a kingpin in Gotham City, and he mainly operates from old Gotham, where his casino is situated, the Iceberg Lounge. So yeah, then this brings us to the Riddler. Riddler was already a villain. He was a villain in Batman's early years, but now this Riddler, I'm not sure where I read this, but I read that some point in the comics, Riddler reformed himself and became a private investigator, from what I've heard, for a short while. And I think this is an interesting idea. Like the idea of Riddler being a private investigator. Just because he's a private investigator doesn't mean he's gonna work along with Batman. He still has that smugness and arrogance like he had as the Riddler, but this time he's actually trying to stop crimes, at least attempting to stop crimes. So yeah, he becomes like somewhat on and off ally of Batman throughout the show. But yeah, then this brings us to Two-Face. So Harvey Dent was, he became Two-Face in this universe in Batman's early years. Has the same origin as his comic book counterpart. Abusive childhood. It led him to creating his split personality. He became the district attorney. But then, his face got burned by Salma Warney during a trial. And this led to his two personalities, going into, how should I say, into chaos. It made him a psychological mess. He became Two-Face. He started causing chaos in Gotham. And yeah, but by the beginning of the show, Harvey has seemingly reformed, as he has underwent therapy and surgery to fix the half of his face. But Harvey thought the show is going to actually go to a psychological battle, as he still has to deal with the Two-Face personality within him, and also a third emerging personality. Yeah, I'm bringing the judge into this show. The third personality he developed in the new adventures of Batman and Robin. But yeah, also kind of inspired by Arkham Shadow. But yeah, then this brings us to Scarecrow. Scarecrow is the same person. His appearance just changed, and his tactics changed, but he's still the same person from day one. He wants to cause chaos with his fear toxin. The same goes for Mad Hatter, Black Mask, Anarchy, Mr. Freeze, Ventriloquist, Hugo Strange, and Firefly. They're still the same guys from Batman's early years, and now at the beginning of the show, they're still the same guys. Nothing has changed for them. But now this leads us to the set of villains that Batman has never faced. These villains represent the new era of Gotham City. The new era of villainy that is plaguing Gotham City. So gone are the days of mobsters, psychotic anarchists. Now Batman is forced to face meta-humans, humans with superhuman abilities. The villains in this show: August, Amanda Waller, Bane, Killer Croc, Poison Ivy, Clayface, Solomon Grundy, the League of Assassins, and the Order of the Saints of Dumas. So August, people mainly know August from the Suicide Squad games. It's an organization that Amanda Waller works for. But yeah, they're like, I would say they're like the equivalent of SHIELD from the Marvel universe, but August is, I think, more shady. So yeah, so August is this US government organization, and so some law. They had this program where they got Hugo Strange involved, and they wanted him to perform experiments on people in order to create meta-humans, for the US government, so they could employ them as like a task force throughout the US. So this led to the creation of Batman's deadliest foes like Killer Croc, Poison Ivy, Clayface, and Solomon Grundy. August created the four of them in this universe. So here are some of their origins. Killer Croc, was just like his origin. He was born with a skin mutation that made his skin green and scaly. It led him to being ostracized by society, and it ultimately led him to becoming a criminal later on. Croc's a criminal. He's just like a small-time gangster doing petty work for guys like the Penguin and Black Mask. But yeah, he later is kidnapped by August, and he undergoes experimentation, and they make his mutation 10 times worse. They're the ones responsible for turning him into a humanoid crocodile. The same with Clayface. So Clayface, there's many origins for Clayface. He's either Matt Hagen or Basil Carlo. Both of them are like actors. But yeah, so I wanted to like do this thing where Clayface is a combination of a bunch of individuals. He has like multiple personalities within him. One personality is Basil Carlo. One personality is Matt Hagen, and the third personality, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the other clay faces, but maybe just an original character for the show. So he's a combination of like three individuals, and this makes him dangerous because this makes him incredibly unstable. You have a bunch of personalities fighting over control. So yeah, that's what makes him dangerous, Clayface, because he's a combination of a bunch of individuals. Yeah, so that's some of my ideas for these villains' origins. So yeah, this was a short video. I just wanted to go over some ideas for live action Batman show. Let me know what you guys think about my pitch in the comments down below, and let me know what your guys' idea for a live action show would be like. But yeah, you know the drill. Drop a like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, YouTube.